Hi, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about 5 foundation formulas that I personally feel cannot be beat. They cannot be topped. Now, of course, a few of these are going to be like old school products that I have been wearing for years, and you'll see kind of like a couple of new contenders. If you are familiar with my channel, you will probably guess all 5 of these, but I thought this would be a good refresher, and a couple of these will be included in the upcoming Sephora sale, which I will be doing a recommendations video on next week. And I thought I might do a bonus video on things that I'm currently looking at. Normally I just link those in the description box and kind of let you all take a look if you're interested, but I may have some spare time to whip up a little bonus video talking about some things that I currently have in my cart, and you all could possibly give me feedback on them before I purchase. But that's kind of what the schedule is looking like for the next week, week and a half. But yeah, a couple of these foundations you should be able to get during the Sephora sale. Now, this first foundation is going to come as no surprise. I think it is the most versatile out of all of the formulas I'm going to talk about, meaning this is going to be good for all skin types, great for daily wear. The longevity is amazing on it. And if you guessed it, it's going to come as no surprise. Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer. This has been my favorite foundation formula probably for the past 2 years, at least daily wear foundation formula. It has the perfect amount of coverage. It's got a nice light medium coverage to it, but it also has longevity. And I find that hard to find sometimes in lighter coverage products. Like I said, I would consider this light to medium, definitely buildable. You probably could get a medium finish if you built it up enough. I really just stick with like a few drops. Because I do consider this more of my daily wear foundation formula. But this is such a stunning formula. If you were not able to get this during Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, now would be a perfect time. I think it sold out within like the first hour of the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, which is ridiculous. But I love this so much. If you've tried the original Double Wear and it's been a little bit too much for you, or you just thought it was a little flat, I find that Double Wear Sheer, although I do say it has a satin finish, you can very clearly tell I have a little bit of a glow happening here. Now, don't look at this side of my face because I do have a different foundation on this side. I kind of had to like split this up so I could show you all the demos on my skin. So I'm wearing Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer on this side of my face. And it just always comes through for me. Like I said, it checks all the boxes, which is hard to find. Just great for all skin types. It's long wearing and it has the perfect daily wear coverage. Now you could totally wear this as, a special occasion foundation, as long as you don't need to cover anything significant like maybe severe acne or any type of scarring that you might want to conceal a bit further, because this definitely is, I would say, solid light medium coverage. So yeah, just a solid trooper for me. I think that this is one staple that everyone should have in their collection. And I think that's saying a lot, because I don't say that. I don't even know if I've said that about any of the foundations I'm going to talk about. I think the versatility is just what makes this formula so unique. Number 2 is Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin. I have been obsessed with it since the day it launched, and I still firmly believe that it is not talked about enough. This is a perfect example of a very well and thoroughly researched foundation. Like, I can tell that she trial and errored with this and she was successful, because I think it is one of the most beautiful foundation formulas and also has the versatility factor to it. So this, if you need something that has a little bit more coverage, this is definitely a medium coverage foundation. You could probably even build it up to medium full if you wanted to. Like I always say, I kind of stop in that medium coverage category range. But this is another one that I would recommend for all skin types because, again, it has more of that satin finish. You can manipulate it, and she designed it that way, which again, I think is genius. If you are more on the dry side, you just nourish your skin with a heavier moisturizer prior to, and it kind of just melts with whatever you prep your skin with, which I love. I love that she thought about all skin types, and she didn't just restrict this to, you know, being like a glowy foundation for dry skin or a matte foundation for oily skin. It really meets in the middle, and it works well with specific skincare that you pair with it. So not only do I like wearing this as a daily wear foundation, but it looks stunning as, you know, like an evening wear or for special occasions. This is one that I can always count on because I know that it's just going to look like flawless skin. It's not thick. It feels really nice and blendable on the skin. And just overall, I would say out of all of the foundations, you know, that I'm going to mention today, this is definitely the most underrated, but probably one of the best formulated. Never have issues with longevity with it. It covers everything that I need it to cover. The shade selection on the Double Wear lineup is phenomenal. Now I will say Estee Lauder Double Wear Original I think has a few more shades than the sheer formulation does, but the lineup is still really good. I feel like Estee Lauder always does well with several shade selections, but Lisa came through on the shades. Not only is the shade lineup very extensive, it's like she came up with shades that literally are skin tones, which sounds dumb, but you know, I'll reference like Clinique. You know, Clinique, I love a lot of their complexion products, but they just haven't nailed true skin tones. You know, they're still rocking with a lot of like ultra peachy or like tangerine shades that really lack in a lot of actual skin tone like undertones. So what I loved about the lineup with Seamless Skin is that it's really true to skin. Like if it says it has an olive, if it says it's warm, if it says it's really true to what it says. And my perfect shade right now is number 7. This is like a spot on match for me. It is so incredibly close to my actual skin tone. It's unbelievable. Now in the summertime, I wear shade 10. So if you reference, you know, my videos in the summer when I'm a little bit darker, 10 is like, again, a spot on match for me. But I could go on and on about this formula. Again, I don't think it's talked about enough, and it's a genius formula. Hot take here, and some of you are going to find this very controversial, but I had to do it because I do think that this is such a beautiful foundation formula, and I will say foundation very lightly because it is considered a tint, but it is model skin in a bottle, and here we go, Chanel Water Fresh Tint. The original. I was gonna go ahead and put in the new formula, but honestly, I just don't reach for it as much. But if you know you are someone who wants or needs more coverage, then that formulation is totally fine. I think it is still beautiful, but there's something about this one that I just cannot get over. This specifically for me is a summertime foundation. Like I really don't reach for this formula unless it is summertime and I really want that fresh, youthful look. So this is basically almost like a serum or foundation pigments encapsulated in this serum, and whatever it is in here, it could literally just be straight up water, I don't know. It gives the most plump effect to the skin, And I just have not found that in any other formula that I've tried. That's just what I absolutely love about this. It really does give such a youthful appearance to the skin. If you have mature skin, this is going to be a formula to look into because there truly isn't enough pigment in it to sink into any type of fine line or wrinkles. It just has enough to give you a bit of color, to revive the skin. And with saying that, of course, you are not going to get an excessive amount of coverage with this product. It is definitely sheer to light, depending on what type of skin you have. If you have no imperfections, you could probably get sheer to light. If you do have some imperfections, you're gonna notice that it is definitely on the sheer side. But again, it is considered a tint. And yeah, something about this I'm just a fan of, and it has become my hands down go-to formula in the summertime. Do I think this is for everyone? No. Like I said, if you have things that you know you want covered, if you're someone who, again, I totally understand, doesn't want to pay that like high-end price point for something that doesn't have a ton of coverage, totally get it. You might want to look into the Water Fresh Touch, which is the updated version of this that has a bit more coverage to it. Actually, significantly, like a lot more coverage than this one does. Like I said, I both think they're beautiful, but there's something about this one I just can't get over. So plump, youthful, fresh, juicy summertime skin in a bottle. I'm gonna leave it at that. Another longtime contender coming into play here. This is what I am wearing on this side, and you can tell I have a little bit more coverage happening on this side of my face compared to this side, which is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Sheer. So on this side, I am wearing the icon, the legend, Armani Luminous Silk. I have had a long history with this foundation. I started wearing it when I was like a sophomore in college and truly did not get the hype with it. And I will say this every time I mention this foundation, if you do not find the right color, it can be disastrous. Like, I don't know what it is, but if you do not have the right shade, almost like with any foundation, it's not going to look good. But for the longest time, I had a small, like mini size of this, and it was just way too dark for me. And I would notice by the end of the day, I was really patchy. Well, that's because it was way too tan. And then like my fair skin was peeking through. And so I really hated on this foundation for a long time. And then, I think I just decided on a whim, I decided I was going to purchase another mini. And I got a shade that was way better for me. It still is not my perfect shade. And then somehow I ended up on Armani PR, and they sent me the shade that was like the game changer for me. It fit perfectly. And from that point on, I could not believe like how long it took me to find the right color and to experience how amazing this formula truly is. So 3.8 and 4 are my closest match that I've found so far. Again, it's really strange with this color lineup. Sometimes shades that have a higher number are actually lighter than the lower numbers. It's a very confusing system. There are several different like undertones that range within this lineup, but so far I found that 3.8 and 4 are my closest match. I'm wearing 3.8 today on my skin because I couldn't find 4. 4 generally matches me, like I feel like just a little bit better. Again, just know that it's crucial to find a good match in this formula. So this formula I would actually describe being closest to the Lisa Eldridge. I do find them to be pretty similar. However, Luminous Silk is quite a bit more glowy than what Lisa Eldridge's Seamless Skin is. You do get that luminous payoff like the name says, but you can do, I would consider this to be anywhere between, like, it's so versatile in its application. Like half a pump's going to give you sheer beautiful coverage. You know, one pump's going to give you that light to medium, and then a pump and a half, you could definitely get medium to full, just depending on how you want to use this and what your skin type is like. I think it's very versatile in its application and its cover range. And I love that because for a luxury foundation with a higher price point, I want it to be able to do it all. So, you know, if I take it for a trip and let's say I'm just like going out and like exploring and I just want a little bit of coverage on, this gives me that, and in just as much of a beautiful way as it does with, you know, a pump and a half for more fuller coverage. And again, if I want to build it up by the end of the day, it's going to give me that beautiful, seamless, like smooth, luxury skin type of look. I truly do believe that this is a formula that is worth the price tag because it performs so well. Longevity is great on it. It layers well. Like if you want to layer even heavier products on top of it, it's gonna look good no matter what. And I've just found that it's just reliable, and we love to see that, especially in something that we are spending more money on. And I can't praise it enough. I mean, it is iconic and just talked about highly for a reason. So yeah, this one, I think, again, it's going to fit a lot of different skin types. I think leaning into the oily range, you might want to check out Armani Power Fabric over the Luminous Silk, but I still think Luminous Silk would work as long as you set it appropriately. Last but not least, here we go. You thought I forgot. You thought I forgot about her, because I'll be the first to admit, I have not used this in my videos it's been a minute. It's been a minute. I know I used it a few times last year. The foundation launches that happened last year, I lost track of. And so a lot of my old school products really did get put on the back burner, but I'm still using her. She's still a staple in my collection. MAC Face and Body. You know, like she's been with us through the long haul. This is one of my oldest foundation formulas, definitely out of the ones I just talked about. This is the oldest. I've been using this for at least 10 years now. It was one of the first products I ever tried from MAC. It was one of the first successful education videos that I had here on my channel. I did a how to properly apply MAC Face and Body video probably, it's had to have been like 8 years ago at this point. And so many people came to my channel. That was like a really big one for me back in the day. And I had someone tag me on Instagram yesterday actually talking about how, you know, they had learned like Bare Minerals from me, and then also MAC Face and Body, that the only reason they didn't throw away their MAC Face and Body was because they had found that video where I show how to use it. So this is a foundation that I used for upwards of 9 years. Probably not to the decade point because I did stop doing freelance a couple years ago, but this is what I used on all of my clients, all of my brides. It's a professional product, and I think that it does take a bit of practice to understand its full potential. But once you nail it, once you discover how to properly wear this, and I'll link my old school video down below. Like, we're talking, it's old school. Like, I have my little bob. I think I had just gotten my adult braces, but I'll link it down below if you want to reference it. I'll kind of go over my preferred way of applying this. So I always recommend using your hands. This is a product that thrives with warmth, and you will notice that it has this tacky grip after you have blended it into your skin. So that's kind of why you need the warmth of your fingers, is to keep it as warm as possible until you are comfortable or you've reached you know, like your total blend. Like you want to keep it warm until it's like fully blended in. Wait about a minute if you want more coverage. So like one layer of this is going to give you a nice light coverage. This is a very buildable formula, and although it does not appear like upon first application that it's really going to do much, trust me, you can build this up. I say this is built up to a medium coverage. Some MAC artists will say medium full. You know, everyone has their opinion and their preference, but I personally feel like you get it up to a medium coverage. So wait about a minute, let it sit there, and you'll notice that it's almost like dried down. So then you kind of go in and you repeat the same process where you just layer until you are happy with the amount of coverage that you have. Speaking of radiance, it is renamed MAC Studio Radiance. Of course, there is, like we've talked about this here on the channel, there's you know, dilemma on whether they changed the formula of this. MAC says that they didn't. Several people think that it looks different on them. Like I've mentioned several times, I don't feel like it looks any different on me. If you feel like it looks different on you, I'm not saying it doesn't. I think a really reasonable explanation for that could be that they added new shades into this lineup. And so of course, if you're adding a new shade, you're probably gonna have you know, differences in the formula just based on the new pigment that you're introducing. So I think that could possibly be it. But for me, I felt like I didn't experience any difference in this. I love recommending this to my dry skin folks out there because I've never found that it really adheres to any type of dryness on the skin. It has a really unique formula that just kind of allows it to be one with the skin. And just overall, it's glowy, radiant, healthy looking. And yeah, as long as you practice with this and you play around with it, you can definitely build this up for me to a medium coverage. Okay, I think that is it for my top 5 foundations that I currently think cannot be beat, cannot be topped. They are like the 5 I would pick hands down. If, you know, someone was like, hey, I'm going to throw out your makeup collection, pick 5 foundations right now, these are definitely the 5 that I would pick. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your top 5 are down below. I would love to know. Also would love to know if you've been watching my channel for a long time, if you own any of these 5, if I inspired you, if any of these are your top 5 favorites for a reason, if you saw my video using it. I kind of just like to know what appeals to people when I talk about these foundations and like what makes you go out and get them. So I hope you enjoyed my top 5 foundation picks, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.